Hello and hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing? Hey, I just noticed I left that door open back there. Please let me know if somebody walks up behind me because I should be home alone. So that's creepy to me. Just keep an eye on that for me, okay? Parenting. It's an interesting subject to me because I'm a parent. What parenting is like in Germany. I think that's a fascinating subject. Go check out her channel, Life in Germany, link down below. I'm going to react to this video. Let's do it.
I would say the one word I would use to explain what it's been like being a parent living here in Germany is intimidated.
I could see that. I could see that. Because, you know, America's not a like really judgmental culture as far as like what you're doing. Well, I say that. It kind of is. It can be. But I was going to say the one thing that people do judge you on, whether they say it out loud or not, is like your parenting. How you're parenting your child. Oh, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do this. Blah, 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 blah. You know, everybody's got an opinion on parenting because it's an important thing, how kids are raised. So I could see going to a different culture. That would be pretty intimidating.
Hello you guys and welcome back to the Life in Germany channel. If you've not been here before, my name is Jenna and I am a Canadian who's been living here in Germany since 2014. I am a mommy
Okay, 10 years. That's a good amount of time.
of two. I currently have a 4-year-old son and a 3-month-old baby. So I found this topic to be relative.
Okay, so at least she got to get acclimated to the German culture before having her kids. It would be even scarier to move to Germany or a different country with kids.
Suiting at the moment because a lot of people have been asking me, what is it like being a parent here in Germany? Is it different from North America? Well, I can definitely tell you that it is very, very different. But I wanted to go into this topic a little bit more into detail today just to kind of, I guess, share my opinion with you guys. That doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to be the same for everybody in every single town and city that you live in Germany. It's just my experience that I've had over the last 4 years of being a parent here in Germany. Now we could go really in depth into some of like the technical topics.
I wonder if any of her perspectives would change since she was not a parent in America. Well, I'm a parent in America, so maybe I can, play that role. Let's see.
And more legal topics of parenting here in Germany. Don't even get me started on the idea of not being able to homeschool my kid in Germany. I know many Germans have a very, very strong opinion. I also have a strong opinion on this topic if you are a suitable parent to be teaching your child. Maybe if you even have a teaching degree. However,
I have a feeling she has a teaching degree. Did you guys catch that? Homeschooling's illegal in Germany. Man, that's an interesting subject. Something I don't think about a lot. I've always thought about it being a little bit of an interesting concept. She says if you're suitable to be teaching. I think that's the key part. That's what, over here in America, some people who are homeschooled, their parents are not suitable to be teaching. And yet they do, and they're allowed to. And part of me thinks that's pretty odd, but another part of me is like, well, it is their children. At the end of the day, I guess from a fundamental value standpoint, even if it's not necessarily the best thing in the world, do I think you should have the right to like educate your own children if that's what you want to do? Yeah, I'd say so. I would say so. I think.
That's for another day. Today, I'm going to talk about some of the more day-to-day things that I experience as a parent living here in Germany. So the first thing I want to talk about, and maybe this is more popular in Düsseldorf than some of the other cities. I don't know if you guys live in Germany, you can let me know. But here in Düsseldorf, there is something called like an Öko-Mama. Basically a mom who is very earthy. This sometimes isn't
Earthy?
necessarily a good term here in Germany. Sometimes they're like, oh, another one of those Öko parents, whatever. I like to say,
oh, like eco parents? Is that kind of what that translates to? Like ecological? What? What does that have to do with being a parent, though? I'm confused.
That I find myself somewhere in between. I love being outdoors. I like to try to feed my kids healthy food. Although,
Oh, okay.
if I'm being honest as a parent, really, like I admire all of the parents who are able to do that. And this is very, very common here in Germany where they have very strict diets. At our kita, the topic of sugar and whether or not the kids are allowed to have süßes Frühstück, a sweet breakfast on Fridays, or even just once a month.
A sweet breakfast on Fridays. There's a word for that? Interesting. That is an interesting subject. This is also a trend, honestly, over here in America. You might not believe it because, America's known for being very unhealthy, but there's a wide range of culture over here in America, despite what you might hear about America having no culture. And there's like a growing trend of people, mostly moms who it's all about organic food, no processed food, no preservatives, no dyes, no nothing, no candy. And kind of like she says, it's like, honestly, I don't really have time for that. I do feed my child, mostly what I consider, like as a snack, I usually just do fruits because fruits taste really good and he likes them. So, I don't know. I keep it pretty simple, but I'm not like a eco whatever parent. Definitely not.
Is a very hot topic here. Maybe it's changed in Canada. Back in the day when I was a kid, sweet breakfast was not even thought about. Of course, I wasn't eating junk food every day, but I'm pretty sure my diet was like mac and cheese and hot dogs my whole life, and I didn't turn out that bad.
That is another thing that I can't help but think about sometimes. It's like, I grew up eating my fair share of candy and, marshmallows for breakfast and Pop-Tarts. I didn't have like bad parents or anything, but but I did eat a lot of, like most other American kids. I had like cereal with marshmallows in it and stuff, Lucky Charms for breakfast or a Pop-Tart. And I turned out relatively okay, I think. Maybe I lost a few brain cells. I don't know. But obviously that's not the healthiest way to go. It's an interesting subject. But my son does indeed eat some Honey Nut Cheerios for breakfast once in a while, which I think is considered a sweet breakfast.
An eco mama or an eco parent would basically dress their kids up in a lot of bio cotton, organic cotton. They're outdoors a lot. They're feeding their kids very healthy food. They typically
I love going outdoors. I think that's great for any kid.
don't watch a lot of TV. If they have toys in their house, they might have a minimal amount of toys and they are likely to be made out of wood. I think this is a trend.
Why do they have to be made out of wood? Okay, this is going much deeper than, that trend that I spoke to over here in America. I've never heard of like, oh, the toys should be made out of wood. I guess that's for ecological purposes, rather than plastic. Okay. I'm following now, I think. But that doesn't really have to do with the kid, I don't think, does it? It's not like, oh, those plastics are toxic. It's just the plastic is bad for the environment, right?
And all over the world. I just find it to be more intense here in Düsseldorf. Of course, you've got other parenting styles as well, or whatever you'd like to call it. Montessori parenting here and helicopter parents here. But this eco parent is very, very popular or a very hot topic here in Düsseldorf. And when we're talking about watching TV or being on the computer, this is something that every family has to figure out on their own, of course. I just find that in Germany, people are a lot more against the computer and against watching the TV. A lot of kids that I know are heavily restricted to either 30 minutes a day of TV or nothing at all. Perhaps.
Wow, nothing at all. Bravo to any parents. That can't be easy. That can't be easy. That's my honest. Obviously the TV's got to be bad for their attention span. But there's nothing, if you're trying to cook dinner or something, that is the easiest way to entertain your child. And that's the reason people do it. It is like so easy. Pop it on, try to put on something educational at least. And they'll sit there and watch that for 30 minutes. Heck, they'd probably watch it all day. Interesting. Interesting. Overall, this is sounding like there's a lot more strict parents in Germany.
Just in the mornings on weekends.
Which is sort of interesting because that contrasts to the being outdoors. They're not strict from what I understand. You know, you let your kids kind of like run around, like, fall down, get up, play on the playground. All, it's good for them. That's the kind of attitude. And I agree with that totally. And that's like the opposite of strict in my, thinking. But then when it comes to TV and food, you guys, or at least some of you guys, are very strict. Got it.
But they're very, very strict about this. I think everybody has an idea of what type of parent they would like to be, but then after you've actually raised a child, you realize, okay, there's certain things that help our relationship, make sure it's a healthy one, and make sure that mama and papa get a little bit of time for themselves as well. But I'm not usually as strict on this topic as other people are. I know my husband and I typically butt heads on this topic as well because he was raised watching a lot less TV than I was. My mom was a single mom raising 3 kids, so can you judge her? Not really. However, I watched a lot of TV as a kid, and I have to tell you nowadays, despite having a TV in my bedroom, I actually don't watch TV all that often. I very, very rarely watch TV. When I do it, it's like one.
There was something in the headphones right there where it sounded like someone was coming up the stairs. I thought y'all were about to see like a horror scene in this video. Guys, you just got to let me know if someone pops their head. Like imagine someone popping their head behind me right now like... wait. If someone does that out that door, please tell me. What the heck did she just... Oh, yeah. TV. She used to watch a lot of TV, and she doesn't really think it affected her that negatively. It's kind of fascinating to think about, I'm not going to lie. It's kind of fascinating. Isn't it? It is so fascinating, at least as a parent to me. It's like, on one hand, you don't want to set your kid up in any way for failure. But on the other hand, it's like, but what if all this, like, no TV, no video games, no this. It turns out that didn't actually do that much. I'm not saying it doesn't, and I'm not saying it does. It's something that I just think of as a parent. It's like, it's tough. It's tough. I try to just kind of use common sense about it. That's kind of like, I'm not very strict. I just, when it seems like they've been sitting in front of that Bluey or Miss Rachel for too long, I'm like, okay, that's enough of that. Let's go outside. And he would much rather be outside anyway, so.
An episode of Netflix versus my husband, I find him like every second that he has a chance to just breathe and calm down, he's on his phone watching silly YouTube videos, watching TV shows. That is the way that he calms himself. Cool. To each their own. In my opinion, cool. You can't shelter them forever. Of course, there's a million.
I'm curious how the likes are on this video. Oh, actually very good. So it seems like the Germans overall are kind of vibing with what she's saying.
And other arguments to this topic. And I know there's probably going to be a lot of hate comments. I just wanted to mention that this topic is very debatable in Germany, whereas in Canada, it's probably, yeah, okay, we're going to try to have our kid not watch too much TV, but it's not the be-all, end-all that it sometimes is here in Germany. Let's jump a little bit into parental leave.
Fascinating topic to me.
I won't go into the legalities of it. However, in Canada, thankfully, we do actually have a lot more parental leave than we used to back when my mom was raising children. Typically, women tend to take about 1 year of parental leave in Canada.
Damn.
I'd say that's pretty common here in Germany as well. So
it must be nice.
While we might be on the same track in Canada and Germany in regards to how much time the woman takes on parental leave, how much time the man takes is actually a little bit different. I tend to find that men here in Germany actually take a lot more parental leave than men back home in Canada. It's quite common for the father.
Even compared to Canada. I mean, so like in the US, men take like 0 leave between like a few weeks to 0 would be normal. And then Canada's definitely more than America. And Germany's even more than Canada.
father to take about 2 to 3 months parental leave.
Let's go.
And funny enough, it often involves travel, whereas I find in Canada, people don't travel as often on their parental leave. It's more for parental leave. Where I find in Germany, the Germans find every reason to travel and get out and explore, and parental
What?
leave is like the number one get out of work.
What? You go on parental leave and then you pack up and leave? That's awesome. Hopefully you take the baby. You take the baby, right?
Free card, I guess, to go travel the world. We did it with our son and it was nice. It was wonderful. I heavily regretted it afterwards because it was also exhausting. We traveled all of Canada. We traveled the whole west coast of America. We went to Jamaica. We went to Spain. We
Holy
went too many
crap.
places. And then this time I said, okay, you know what? Our parental leave is really gonna be parental leave. That's it, that's all. But when you're an international and you come from Canada, well, chances are we're probably not gonna stay put. My sister lives in the Yukon. My brother lives in British Columbia. So at the end of the day, we're probably still gonna be traveling a decent amount, but I'm gonna try to tone it down a little bit.
That's hilarious to me. Like when my wife was on parental leave, we didn't even think about going on vacation. Then again, it's different because I wasn't on leave, you know? So it doesn't really work out that well. That's pretty cool. That sounds difficult though, taking like a 3-week-old out on an international vacation. Do they need a passport?
Bit more. Whereas a German family might actually hop in a Wohnwagen in their camper or RV and travel around the world for a year with their newborn.
What?
I admire this. I think it's amazing, and I think if you can do it, do
That is so ambitious and so cool. I love it.
it. But oh my gosh, you guys, I am exhausted. When we're talking about daycare or Kita
I can't believe you're doing that and waking up in the middle of the night to feed your baby while on vacation, like on the road? Wow.
this case here in Germany, I find that in Canada, kids actually go a lot longer, a lot later. Schedules are a lot more flexible in Canada. They usually
For what? I'm sorry, what? Oh, daycare.
work with your work hours, whereas in Germany I find like they're very strict, saying you could drop your kid off, you know, between 9 and 9:30, and you have to pick them up between 2 and 2:30. It could be a little bit later. Of course, we have a time slot at our Kita until 4:30. When I say that and you think of the reality over in Canada,
I want to know how much it costs. That's the big thing. Oh my God, it's expensive over here in the States. I'm talking like $800 per kid is probably average per month. $800 per month.
some of their daycares are actually open until like 6, 7, 8 p.m. because people have different working hours. And in Germany, it's kind of like well, then you're shit out of luck. I'm sorry. You know, you have to change your schedule with your boss and not the schedule with the Kita or with the daycare. With my first child, I found this really tricky to really understand and get used.
I think in America, most of them just stay open till like 5:30. Most people get off at 5, people who work like a normal 9 to 5. And apart from that, you know, and you can pick them up like any other time during the day, pretty much. That seems to be about how it works. Seems to work out okay. It's just expensive as hell.
To. And I honestly can't even imagine my boss back in Canada having been like, yeah, sure, no problem. You can leave 3 hours early from work because you have a child. It just wouldn't happen. But I find here employers in general are a lot more flexible, let you take a lot more time for your children, let you change your schedule around to make it work. Of course, granted, that's not with everybody, but it's just, I have seen this happen time
Fascinating.
and time again, and I'm always very relieved to hear that employers can be so flexible because raising children isn't easy, you know, and things go wrong. Kids get sick.
No, it's not freaking easy, and people aren't having enough kids. Like, we need to structure society in such a way that incentivizes people to have more kids, you know, not set it up to where it's super inconvenient and expensive and, oh, the daycare is not going to work with your job. I don't know. But that's pretty cool to hear. The jobs are flexible for the kids. That's awesome.
closed down, pandemics start. I really do love this aspect in Germany as well. Not to mention daycare in Germany or Kita in Germany or even the Tagesmutter or Tagesvater, which is like a
How much?
day nanny. These tend to be a lot more affordable in Germany, and the government often does pay a significant portion of these fees.
It must be nice.
Depends on what city you live in and when they start to pay this fee and how much of a fee they will cover based on how much you make. I've mentioned this in
That makes sense.
a video before about you're a German mom when you take your kid to the playground even in a pouring rain. Moms are hardcore here, guys. Like, they are outdoors with their kids all the time. Most kids know how to ride a bike at the age of like 2 or 3. Here's my son at the age of 4 on training wheels, and I'm like so proud of him. And then I look around and there's like 2-year-olds. They are hardcore. Like,
I've been trying to get my son on the tricycle. He's 1. I'm gonna have him on 2 wheels by 2. You see, 2 years, 2 wheels.
like, kids learn how to enjoy the nature and be outdoors a lot earlier here in Germany than we do in Canada. Maybe that's because they don't watch so much TV here. But what I also find really cute at the playground, when I had my son and he was not yet at the Tagesmutter, I think he went at about 1.5, maybe a bit later. I was at the playground every single day, rain or shine. And now I didn't actually see the parents there because the parents were oftentimes at work. I saw the kids with their grandparents, and this just broke my heart because I just wished that my mom could be here doing the same thing with my kiddos, and it was just so sweet.
Damn.
You know, they interact with their grandparents on such a more personal level here than we do in North America. I find a lot of families in Canada don't spend so much time.
Do people not move away as much? Over here in America, it's super common to move away from your parents. To like, a state far away, like 10 hours away, to where you see them like once a year. That's pretty common. Let alone your grandparents.
Time with their families, although I will say in Canada we often have much larger
Although I will say over here in America, or I mean in Indiana in particular, I've noticed more of a culture of like sticking around, like super big extended family gatherings.
families than they do here in Germany. Families tend to be a lot smaller, but also a lot closer knit. I would say the one word I would use to explain what it's been like being a parent living here in Germany, being a foreign parent living here in Germany, is intimidated. I am really intimidated by German parents, but I also really respect them and really appreciate them. But I also want to, fit in, I guess. Like, it doesn't matter how old you get, you still want to fit in. I still want to make mommy friends.
Absolutely. That's like the human way. You just want to fit in, you know what I mean? That's like how society is woven. You just want to fit in, no matter what age you are. I say that, and yet I'm like the most contrarian weirdo trying to not fit in some ways. But anyway, at the end of the day, most people just want to be like appreciated, liked, respected by their peers.
Here in Germany, and I find that the topics that they discuss are topics that I've slowly had to adapt to because it might be a little bit different back in Canada where I grew up. You go to the playground and you see everybody walking around in these little bio cotton suits, and they're like 200 euros, but apparently they keep your kids super, super warm. Then you see them bring in their wooden toys, or you go over to their houses and it's all like Montessori approach, like, I don't know, I just feel intimidated. I know I'm a good mom. I know I'm a great mom. It's just really
That's all that matters.
really intimidating to see other parents, and also having to feel like I need to speak the German language perfect. And when I'm at play dates, constantly switching between German and English is really intimidating. But I love being a parent here in Germany. I do often wonder, what would it be like if all of my mommy friends spoke English? I would probably be a lot more open because speaking the German language, I find that my vocabulary is very limited. My German's not perfect, so it's really hard for me to express myself and really feel like I am me. I'm being myself.
This is getting real deep.
A lot of you have also been asking the question, what has it been like for me?
It is interesting, though. It's the small kind of things you don't think about exactly when you're planning on emigrating somewhere. You think of how much of a crazy adventure it would be, but there are some pitfalls, like not knowing enough of the language to fully express yourself.
raising children without having my Canadian family here. That's a whole nother topic in itself again, and if more of you want to see that video, then let me know and I can definitely chit chat about it one day. Otherwise, I think I've talked your ear off quite enough today. Vielen, vielen lieben Dank, you guys, und wie immer, bis später.
I like where I pause. I'm gonna let it play out. There we go. That was an awesome video. I like this channel. Boom. Check it out. Link down below. I love that subject. Fascinating. Fascinating. Well, as parents, I think most of us, well, not all of us, but most of us are just trying to do our best. Yeah, no. Some of us aren't. I think I am. Yeah, I am. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.